IST 2016. This is interviews, music reviews, and more. This is The Hodder Show.
What is up, everybody? We are Rolling Audio here today on episode 315 of The Hodder Show. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you so very much for tuning in and clicking that play button on today's episode of the podcast. I've got a really fun episode for you here today, as I do every single week right here on The Hodder Show. We are sitting down with quite possibly the biggest music fan I know. Now, what I mean by that is the passion that this individual has for music. As I said a few times during this chat, you can feel it as they're speaking about it. And I, of course, am talking about Cailin Provo, who also is a badass photographer and musician in her own right. And we have a really fun chat talking all about the Halloween Rockin' Eve event that she just put on with the help of a few of her friends in the local scene, where all of her music fandom came from, her relationship she has with some of these killer bands from Ontario and beyond, and really just kind of what got her to this point that she's at, where, you know, everyone knows Cailin, really. It's a joke we may make a few times, but the reality is a lot of bands I talk to, they know Cailin because she's such a big supporter of music in Ontario and beyond. So you guys are definitely going to enjoy this chat. It was really a lot of fun. Cailin is very entertaining and has some really fun stories, and it's just so passionate. It was so much fun getting to speak with her. Before we jump into that, I want to thank everybody for their support on last week's episode of the show, my chat with Arthur Unk, who is a writer and also a contributor to the Grey Rooms podcast. That was a lot of fun getting to chat with Arthur. Definitely going to have him on again, because there was a lot of stuff we didn't actually get to because we did talk so much about the Grey Rooms, which obviously is super important because it's, you know, my favorite audio drama podcast, and he is a big part of it. So obviously that was a lot of fun. Really quick, I want to give a humongous shout out to Mr. Graham Rowett, who is, if you guys listen to my podcast regularly, he is my favorite voice actor, and he's also a huge part of the Grey Rooms as well. And I got to actually meet and have a beer with him this past weekend, and it was absolutely incredible. So I just want to give a quick shout out to Graham for being such an awesome human being and being so down to earth and cool, because that was a lot of fun for old TJ. Definitely going to be getting Graham on the podcast sometime too. But that all out of the way, we are ready to jump in headfirst here to my chat with Cailin Provo from Cailin Provo Photography, and also probably the biggest music fan in the world. Let's get into it. We're back here for a full chat this time with my friend Cailin Provo. Cailin, how's it going?
It's going great, TJ. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. The last time we heard from you, it was like, I think it was like a week before Halloween Rockin' Eve, or a week or a few days, somewhere in that ballpark. And man, now obviously being a solid month and a bit out, I want to hear all about Halloween Rockin' Eve. I want to talk to you about your music fandom, how you're one of probably the most popular music fans in Ontario. I'm just going to go ahead and say that. And also your photography. There's a lot for us to break down and talk about here today. So thank you very much for joining me.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. Yeah, we'll start off with Halloween Rockin' Eve. Today I announced how much we raised. We raised $1,481.75. That's amazing. I appreciate everyone for getting a ticket and donating. I'm very appreciative of all that. All the bands for being a part of it. My team behind me. I couldn't have done that without them.
That's it. I mean, that's a serious amount of cash. Like, that's impressive. Like, congratulations on that to you and the whole team, because that's really, like, I'm not shocked that it did that well, but you know, it's still cool to, like, did you kind of have an idea, like, okay, maybe we'll raise a few $100? Like, did you have kind of any idea going into it, or?
Going into it, you know, I didn't want to put a number on it. Sure. Because anything that we raised, you know, everyone, the doctors and nurses will be appreciative of that.
Of course.
To me, I had no idea how much we would raise. Like, I had some ideas, but I didn't want to put that pressure on me or anybody else. So seeing the total at end of a couple weeks later, And it's like, damn, guys, we did it. And I couldn't be more proud of everyone involved.
Definitely so. And just for those who don't know, what exactly was Halloween Rockin' Eve, and what were you raising money for with that event?
Halloween Rockin' Eve was a pre-recorded live stream on October 30th. We had 5 of our local bands. We had Drop Top Alibi, One in the Chamber, the Jailbirds, Revive the Rose, and Dirty Rick. And we were raising money for the Hamilton Health Science Foundation for the staff's mental health. So it's going to quiet rooms and compassion carts.
That's awesome. Like it's such a very feel-good event, but also like very well received, and everybody I spoke to who was involved with it, like said that they had a great time, and it was just overall such a good, I mean, you can't help but feel good when you're doing something like that, of course, but like, also, it was just a kick-ass rock and roll event. Like, what's not to like about it, right?
Absolutely. Those 5 bands are my favorite in the scene, and we all came together for a great cause. We recorded over 2 days at Catherine North Studio here in Hamilton. We had Cody on video and Dale. We had Mike, Aiden, and Emily doing all the audio. Brainiacs behind that, because beyond me, I have no clue how they did it, but I appreciate, because their work is phenomenal. And I'll give Mike the shout out. If anybody needs music recorded, hit up Mike Penny from the Jailbirds. He's a great guy. He knows what he's doing, that's for sure.
And that was I don't mean to interrupt, but that was Red Truck Pictures.
Cody from
Cody, yes, right.
Cody from Red Truck Pictures. Hit him up for video pictures. He's great to work with. Super easygoing guy. Willing to work. He has the ideas in his head. We changed up. You watched the video. We had different angles and stuff, which was great. I enjoyed watching them do their thing, and I couldn't be more thankful for all of them.
That's it, man. And I mean, it's so cool to watch something like that come together. When did you kind of have the idea to do this event?
The idea was probably the beginning of April. My mom and I, we were talking about it. We were listening to music one night, and my mom was like, you keep saying you want to put these 5 bands together. You know what? We want to do it in a live venue, but at this point in time, that was not an option. We didn't know what October was going to hold. We probably could have pulled it off, but it wouldn't have been the same.
Sure.
So, Saturday night, everyone can come together, with protocols and, enjoy a night of rock music in the comfort of their home.
Well, and that's what's so cool about it. Unfortunately, I had to work, so I wasn't able to catch the whole thing. But I mean, I was watching from my phone at one point, for a bit. And I was like, this is so fun. It's so cool, and you could have been sitting on the living room couch, watching it. What's not to like about that? It's such a cool concept.
That's exactly what my family and I did. We had 2 people over who are family, and, they enjoyed it. They got introduced to the bands as I've been talking about them for almost 3 years now.
It's so about time.
So people can finally put, the name to the faces, and, everyone enjoyed it. The response I got, immediately once it was done, my phone blew up. And I was like, I was so overwhelmed, but it was such a good overwhelming feeling.
That's so cool. I'm so happy for you, and that
thank you.
Went the way it did. And I mean, you keep mentioning the bands, and obviously, we mentioned Mike Penny from the Jailbirds. Big shout outs to them, Harder Show alumni. But who are the other 4 bands involved with that? Just for people who may not know.
Oh, you guys got to check these guys out. As we mentioned, we got the Jailbirds, Drop Top Alibi, One in the Chamber, Revive the Rose, who are opening for the Trues for the 3rd time, which I couldn't be more prouder of them.
That's so awesome.
That's so sick. I saw their first show when they opened up for them in Ancaster. I wasn't missing that.
That's awesome.
And then we had Dirty Rick, who is the only one from, Hamilton, and they're an amazing band. Check them out. Everyone's front man are killer singers. Everyone in each band are amazing human beings and amazing musicians.
The talent on that roster right there. There was a picture, and I said this the last time I talked to you, but there's a picture you uploaded. It was you, Brandon Gregory from Drop Top Alibi, and then Mike Penny from the Jailbirds. And I was like, just that alone, just those two guys alone, like the talent in that picture, obviously yourself included too. I'm like, this is going to melt my phone. Like, could you imagine if it was everybody on one stage or like everyone on one show? It's like, and it happened. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah, no, those guys are amazing human beings, and the vocal power between the two of them, I gotta see those two on stage doing a song together one of these days. Mm-hmm. We should throw in there Mike from One in the Chamber. He's another monster singer.
I'm going to be honest, I wasn't super familiar with One in the Chamber. Obviously, I'd heard of them, of course. I live in Ontario, obviously I knew One in the Chamber, but like, I had heard their stuff and I was like, oh, this is awesome. Like, it's kind of like cool, dirty rock and roll, and I really like the production style of it too. Cause it's a little bit more like, their stuff almost sounds like in a good way. It was like, it's very raw. And I'm like, I dig that. But
oh, for sure.
Yeah. But I had just literally, I think it was like the week after the event, I checked out their latest single that they dropped.
To the Gallows.
To the Gallows. And I was like, this is vibey. Like, this is awesome. So it's good shit. Like, just looking at the vocal, like of the bands there, like just that alone is
the vocal power from these 5 bands is absolutely crazy.
Dirty Rick too,
wild.
Obviously Revive the Rose,
Andy, he's a doll. Damn, he's a beauty.
I told him, like, when I had him on, I'm like, dude, I love vocalists who have that, like, just that grit that you can't teach that. That's just
100%.
Like, he just woke up one day and had that voice, and I was like, how do you do this? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, they're just skyrocketing. Over the last year, the amount of music they put out, playing shows through COVID, like Andy. Shout out to Andy with Bar Down Beer Fest. Hell, that was a great day, and I did my photography that day. There are still pictures to be seen that I still haven't got around to trying to find the time.
Well, you've been busy. I mean,
there are hundreds of photos that I still have to go through, but in due time they will come out. Andy did a phenomenal job, and marked down, I think he said September 3rd of 2022. It'll be Bar Down Beer Fest 2. And
Bar Down Beer Fest 2. Okay.
Don't quote me on the date, but I believe
you heard it here first, folks. No, I'm sure you didn't announce it, but I think when he was on, I think I put him on the spot. I was like, "You're gonna do it again?" He's like, "We haven't even done the event." I'm like, "Come on."
I know, right? Yeah, I kind of said that to Andy. So this is gonna be an annual thing. Let's get everyone together. Have a good night of music, food, beer.
Yeah, I've yet to indulge in the Bar Down Lager, so I'm like,
their
man,
beer is good.
I gotta get to.
I've had my fair share. Okay. I've had my fair share.
Okay. Is it really? I gotta ask your opinion on the Bar Down Lager, because he mentioned to me. This is completely off topic, but I gotta ask. He mentioned to me that it has like a what was the flower?
Rose flavor. Yes. Yeah. And it does. It has a hint of rose.
Okay.
And I wasn't too sure of it, but at the end of the day, it's a good beer. I recommend it if people like that kind of beer. I'm not.
It's a lager, so like it's I'm a lager.
I'm not.
Guy, so,
believe me, I am not the biggest beer drinker. I don't really drink often, but my friends have it. I gotta try it.
Yeah. If Andy from Revive the Rose is offering you a Bar Down Lager, you drink the Bar Down Lager.
Absolutely. And the day I see Andy having them in beer stores, I'm going to go in and go, my friends, I know these people. I'm just so proud of them.
Yeah, I said too, like, man, if it gets to a point where it's ever in Peterborough for any reason at all, I'm like, I'm just going to go buy all of it. Like, I'm just like, yeah, I'm just going to take this, because I also love lagers. So like I'm a big beer drinker. So like, man, yeah. But big shout outs to Bar Down Lager and Andy Revive the Rose, and Jailbirds, Dirty Rick, One in the Chamber, Drop Top Alibi, everyone involved with it.
They're all beauties.
So awesome.
I'm so proud of them. They make me so proud. They're probably so sick and tired of me saying that, as I'm saying it for the millionth time on here. I'm so proud of them.
Well, and it's cool because like when your name first came up and I was first introduced to you and kind of your, like I said earlier, like, and I am serious when I say this, like, you're kind of like, you're like one of like the number one fans of music in Ontario.
Oh.
And when I say that, it's like, I think the first time your name came up was I was talking with Brandon Gregory from Drop Top Alibi. Shouts to that. It was just over a year ago, actually, I think, that he was on. So shouts to him.
Gotta get him back on.
Oh, yeah. I want to. There's just not enough hours in the day, man.
I hear ya.
I want to get him on again. I gotta reach out to the guys who won in the chamber and Dirty Rick. Like, there's just there's so many, not enough hours in the day. Look, but like, and I can't remember. There was a picture I saw, and I mentioned it to him. It was off air, but I mentioned how much I liked this one picture. And like, he was like, "Oh, that was Cailin who took that," or something of that nature. I can't remember what. And I was like, "Oh, like, that's like, wow, like, she's a great photographer." And then he was talking about like, "Oh yeah, she's like one of our biggest fans, and she's a huge supporter." And like, I was just like, "Oh, like, that's so cool." And then I started talking with, so then at that point, I think like I had seen so I was like, okay, like, I added you or whatever. But then I was talking with Mike, and the same thing came up. And then I think I was talking with Andy at some point, and your name came up, and I was like at that point I already been talking with you, but it's like, man, like, you're seriously like one of the best known music fans in Ontario. I swear, between you and Dawn, I swear. Like,
I love Dawn. Oh my God, give her.
Awesome.
She has to be. She's been a big supporter of me and everything I've been doing, and I'm so grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a music fan, just like everyone else. I am so grateful for the relationships I've built, the friendships, the community of people. But at the end of the day, I look at them, we're like one big happy family. That's what this community of people are.
That's it. Yeah. I when I say scene at this point, I'm just talking about like all of Ontario, because like there's so many great bands who are all like, they're all buddies.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's so cool to see them come together in one way. And it's like, it's interesting how like you're almost like this like what's the term I'm looking for here? Like that 6 degrees of Cailin or something happened. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
I always see your name pop up on it's like, oh, like I'll like go to like a band's post or comment, and it's like I see you commenting, and I'm like, of course she's seen it. Like,
yeah, people go like, Cailin, did you see this? Or send this to me, or send that to me. It's like, I've already seen it.
Like, dude, I saw that like 4 hours ago. Where you been?
Yeah, I appreciate people sending me stuff
Sure.
that's like, I'm on it. Believe me, and the guys know it.
That's fantastic. Well, how did this whole, like, obviously, like, you're very passionate about music and photography, but just like focusing on music, like, how did that all start for you? Where did this come from? This passion you have for music that is so, like, I mean, I can feel it through the screen right now. Like, it's almost like you're glowing when you're talking about it, just because it's so, you can feel your passion is what I'm trying to say about music.
Music's the biggest, like, that is my passion. My 100, like, that's my go-to. Sure. That and photography, they go hand in hand, and I've been grateful for the bands that have let me, shoot their sets and, repost the pictures. Like, I'm so grateful for that. My music started at a very young age. It was all because of my parents. My parents grew up in the rock scene. They've seen all the bands that, I like today. I got introduced to Kiss probably at the age of 4. They are and will always be my number one band. Them, AC/DC, and Rush were the 3 probably biggest influences on me at a very young age. I saw Rush. I can say I've seen them. Nice. Saw them at Cops Coliseum here in Hamilton on their Clockwork Angels tour in 2013. Hands down the best concert I've ever seen, and will be my number one show till the day I die. So it all started with them. My parents have been the biggest influence. And then as, years go on, I know, Nickelback, I know a lot of people don't like them. That's a whole nother
I'm an OG topic. Nickelback fan. We love Nickelback on this podcast. So
I love Nickelback. You got Nickelback, you got, Kim Mitchell's Street Heart. My mom grew up on Street Heart. I don't know if she's actually seen them, but I'm actually friends with their guitarist, Jeff Neal, who's been gracious to me over, I know him over social media, and all the big bands, Def Leppard, Aerosmith, you name it. I like them. And so over probably the course of probably 2018, so it all started was in 2018. I saw Todd and Brent, who are the bass player and drummer for Slash featuring Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators. They were on the Kiss cruise, and it all stems back to Kiss. Everything will stem back to Kiss. So I saw them video from the Kiss cruise on YouTube, and I'm like, who are these two guys? Like, and finding out they're Canadian made it even better. Their singer Todd Kearns. If you don't know who Todd Kearns is, everyone,
Todd, damn it, Kearns, come on.
You need to go check him out. Oh my God. So after that, I found Took, which is their Canadian tribute band. And that's where it all started. It all stems back to Todd and Brent, Corey and Shane. I discovered every Canadian band they covered off their 2 albums and fell in life. It was like rediscovering music all over again for me, in a sense. And, I'm proud owner of one of Todd Kearns' bass guitars that was stage played back in Heavy Montreal in 2019. That's another long story, but it all stemmed back to Todd and Brent. Grateful for them. I'm friends with all of them. And, that's where it all started in that scene. And then the local scene started with the Jailbirds. Mike found my Instagram profile. I get a lot of friend requests, and it's like, if I don't really know who you are, I don't accept it. That's just cautious of who I am. But, I checked out the music. They had, I believe the only song they had out at the time was The Black River. And the first vibe I got was Monster Truck. I'm like, okay, these guys are really good. So I accepted it. Mike and I started messaging back and forth. Another 6 months later, I went to a show and, history writes itself. I have known them for almost 3 years. So,
wow.
And then I found all the other guys through each other. And that's where I am today.
That's hilarious. There's a couple things you mentioned there that just, I'm getting flashbacks. I can remember with that, you mentioning getting that bass guitar. So the company that makes that bass guitar, I'm now remembering like where else I saw your name pop up. It must have been on a post from that.
Yes.
Because I interviewed a man by the name of Hoogie.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, yep. You probably, I'm sure you know the name.
I have him on Instagram.
Oh, yep. I love Hoogie. It's awesome. Yeah. And so, of course, I started following his company, WB Gear, because I was like, this company's awesome. And then from there, I can't remember the name of the darn company that makes the bass right now.
Prestige Guitars.
Prestige, that's it. Fantastic stuff. Canadian made, like amazing gear.
Oh yeah.
And so then I think that must have been another place where I saw your name pop up. And I was like, how'd she keep popping up? Like, what's going on here? Like, you know everybody? Like, what?
I kind of been told that. It's like the best quote I got from a friend. I have a friend who lives in Japan, and she saw Todd and Brent in January. And everyone keeps saying, do you know who Cailin is? And Todd and Brent go, yes, we all know who Cailin is. And then Todd was telling, he's like, your name keeps popping up everywhere we go. It's like, it's nonstop. It's like, I got friends all over the world. So it's like, while you're there, say hi to them, I adore those guys. Exactly.
That's hilarious.
Exactly.
That's fantastic. You mentioned Kiss. Now, I got to talk about Kiss a bit here because
absolutely.
Kiss is one of those bands that they can either be super controversial, and of course, sometimes they're silly. I'm sure even you could admit that. But
absolutely.
Musically speaking, I want to know what your favorite era of Kiss is and your favorite Kiss album. I want to put you on the spot.
Oh, era, it would probably have to be the 90s era with Eric Singer and Bruce Kulick.
Okay, mine too.
The reasoning behind that is Eric Singer is the one that made me pick up the sticks to play the drums.
Awesome. Okay.
So the Revenge era, that's my favorite era. My favorite album would probably be Revenge, but my favorite Kiss song will always be Detroit Rock City. I
mean, come on. Can there be another song aside from that. And I'm trying to remember. So when I was introduced to Kiss, obviously Detroit Rock City, you know, that stuff. But what got me into Kiss was that Revenge era. And I'm just quickly looking something up because I don't want to get it wrong. But I knew Bruce Kulick as a session player from his work with ESP guitars. So I went through this weird. I was right. I was checking something because I was going to say my favorite Kiss song, but I was like, I better make sure it's on the record I'm about to say, so I don't look like an idiot, especially with such a big Kiss fan. But like, I love Bruce Kulick's playing so much, and he's such a unique player.
I love him too.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Revenge is such a great record. I love the Kiss MTV Unplugged record too. That whole performance.
Absolutely, I love that as well.
But I mean, Heart of Chrome.
I love that song. That's like a gem. That song, and I think Todd and Brent played that on the Kiss cruise in, I want to say, 2019. I remember seeing a video. I was like, oh, I love that song. It's like they went back to all of Revenge. There's other guitarists too. He is so underrated. His name's Zach Throne. He's like an honorary Canadian because he lived in Vancouver for like 15 years. That's how he known Todd. And, you know, they ended up, you know, reconnecting back in the States and stuff over the years. So he ended up playing on the Kiss cruise the last 3 times. And he does all the Gene Simmons parts. I was blown away by his voice. It was like you're listening to Gene Simmons. Like the way he can switch his voice, it's like he's another underrated singer that I don't know how many people know about. He's also in, I think, Corey Taylor's solo band as well.
I was going to say I recognize his name from somewhere else too.
I believe he plays with Corey Taylor as well.
Cool. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, like one of my favorite performances from, like, I'm a big Gene Simmons fan musically, and that's really unpopular to say because like everyone's like, Gene Simmons, really? You think Gene Simmons is a good musician? And I'm like, you can't say he's not.
No,
like, everyone knows Paul Stanley is. I mean,
he's Paul Stanley. Like, what the hell? Yeah, exactly.
Like, Gene Simmons is like, this is Gene Simmons from Kiss, and I'm here today to talk about Kiss coffins. But it's like, no, like, you know, and I didn't really have the right respect for Gene Simmons as a musician until that MTV Unplugged record, when I first saw the performance of them playing. Why am I going to draw a blank on the damn song? I love the song so much. Oh no, it's a Gene Simmons song. It's like a ballad. Oh my goodness. Why am I forgetting the name of the song right now? I literally Going Blind.
Yes. Like, that's such a great song.
Yeah. And like, I'm listening to this and I'm like, Gene Simmons can sing soulfully?
Yeah, exactly.
While he's playing the I'm like, yo, this dude rips. Like, he's a great musician. Like,
absolutely.
It made me have a whole new appreciation for him for sure. Now, sorry?
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, did you like the newer Kiss stuff? Like their latest, I think it was
Sonic Boom and Monster.
Boom. Yeah.
So that, yes, I do like that stuff because that's the stuff I grew up on. It wasn't until I was much older. You know, I knew that, I knew the original 4. I knew that, you know, it was Peter, Chris, and Ace Frehley. I knew that at such a young age. But, you know, I didn't realize, like, there were 2 different people playing. Like, I was 9 when I saw them. So, you know, 9, to me, it was the music. A lot of people will go, it was the imagery that, you know, caught their attention. Mm-hmm. I'm the opposite. The music was the one that caught my attention before, you know, the makeup, the image, you know, this is Kiss and makeup. So it was the music, then the imagery for me. And, you know, it's kind of a little different. You know, everyone would see it with their eyes, but I was listening with my ears.
And I think that shows with the fact that you've said like your favorite era is it's the unmasked era of Kiss, right? Like, and I'm the same. Like, I was never a fan of obviously much respect for the showmanship and everything to do with
absolutely.
Kiss, you know? But like, just that Revenge record and that era, the unmasked era of Kiss. Like a lot of people make fun of it, but it's like, man, there's some great stuff from that era.
No, and Eric Carr is also underrated. Was their other drummer? He is so underrated. He's such an amazing drummer. I actually have a pair of his sticks from a friend of mine sent them to me. Yeah, which was so cool. That's kind of when I started the beginning of podcasts and talking about Kiss and stuff. It's been great, honestly. Shout out to Sonny Pooney from Podcast Rock City. You know, they're all massive Kiss fans.
That's awesome. I was just about to ask, because you had mentioned to me before about how you were on a couple of Kiss podcasts.
Yeah, we sat one night. We, talked Kiss. Talked about, they're like, your love of music at such a young age is like, we've never seen someone so passionate for it and that loves it as much as you do. So they wanted to know more, and it's like, well, I can tell you more.
Yeah, when you're talking music, like it's so, excuse me, like it's so contagious to talk about, especially with a band like Kiss, because it's like Nickelback, which I'm going to ask about in a minute. Like it can go one of two ways. Either it's, Kiss is a corporate machine, and it's like, granted, okay,
100%.
Yeah, but they slap.
Oh, yeah.
So that's
100%.
Oh, for sure. But now with Nickelback, I got to ask, because my first favorite band ever was Nickelback. The first 3 records I ever bought were Nickelback records.
Nice.
I only listened to Nickelback from the time I was 12 to like 14, 15, maybe even, actually no, 11 to like 14. I didn't know I didn't care that other music existed. So, and then through Nickelback, actually through the Spider-Man soundtrack, Hero, Chad Kruger featuring Josie Scott, I discovered other music. But for you, now obviously I'm assuming like you grew up on the newer stuff. Like I was like, when I was, 2001, like I remember when Silver Side Up came out. I remember when How You Remind Me. I remember watching that video, right? Like, because I was a little older. So
no, I like a lot of the older music as well. Again, that's what my parents listened to. Like they saw Nickelback, and it was, I believe they took Theory of a Dead Man on their first tour. Right. They saw that tour. And I want to say that was in 2002, because Gasoline from Theory of a Dead Man was not released till 2005.
Yes, it was 2005, yeah. Yeah,
the only reason, again, I know this is Brent Fitz, who plays with Slash, was the drummer for Theory of a Dead Man. That's kind of how I found intertwined, Brent has played in, you name it, he's played with these people. Mm-hmm. I'm like, he's like the go-to person, need a drummer, need a bass player, need a keyboard player. Like he's so multi-instrumental. It blows my mind. Like he drums for Slash. He plays bass and toque and keys. And he also plays bass and keys on and off with the Guess Who. And I'm like, damn.
That's crazy.
That Winnipeg boy, that's for sure.
Man, those Winnipeggers just can play. I don't know. They can do anything. It's crazy.
There is something about everyone that lives in Winnipeg. As Brent says, you play hockey or you play music. There's nothing else to do.
Yeah, or you wrestle.
Yes, because Chris Jericho is also from Winnipeg.
Yeah, Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega. Like there's Lance T. Storm. There's tons of them. That's a whole other conversation for another time. But so, what would you say is your favorite Nickelback record? If I have to put you on the spot. Record,
I couldn't go with records because I know the songs more than I know the records.
Okay.
My favorite song is "Burn It to the Ground." I mean, that's like the summertime party song that I remember growing up. We had a pool in our backyard. Every time we turned the radio on in our garage, that song was playing. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of getting sick of it. There is one particular song on one of their newer albums that I really like.
Their latest record, it's funny because like being an OG Nickelback fan, like the first record I ever got was Silver Side Up, but then the first record I ever bought was The State, which was the record before Silver Side Up. So like, I'm a very OG Nickelback fan, and like when they dropped, like yeah, they had a couple records there that were very very poppy, and there's still some great stuff on there, and I still enjoy them. But when they dropped their latest record, Feed the Machine, it was like, whoa, holy shit. Like there's some of their heaviest stuff they've ever done, you know, like it's super cool.
Yeah. So a couple off of like their newer ones is Sister Sinner. I love that song. Mm-hmm. What Are We Waiting For? That's off of No Fixed Address.
Yeah, which is a great record.
From their 2011 record, I remember when this was actually released, it's This Means War and Bottoms Up.
Yeah.
And then I do like, you know, I do like a lot of the older stuff, like, you know, the popular songs that everyone knows if you're a Nickelback fan. But Burn It to the Ground, still my number one. It's such a great song.
Oh, it's a great tune. And you still hear that song on the radio all the time, too. Like, it stood the test of time.
Oh, it sure has.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny. Like, my, did you ever get to see the Nickelback Live at Home DVD?
No.
I implore you to check that out. You can find it on YouTube.
I will find that on YouTube and watch it.
Yeah, I discovered my favorite band, like Alice in Chains, my favorite band. I discovered Alice in Chains through Nickelback from that concert. So
yeah, you know, it's so funny when you say that. It's like when you think of everyone knows someone in the industry, and you know you can find so many great bands through so many people. And it's like I'm finding that as over especially the last 3 years of how heavily I've thrown myself into the scene. And it's awesome to see, you know, this person knows that person. This person could hook you up with that person. You know, if you needed someone to fill in, like everyone knows someone. And I think it's great, the support, especially with our local scene, how they will all go out and support the other local bands. It's so great to see the support.
Yeah, it's especially like, you know, considering that, like with my generation's bands that, you know, aren't around anymore. Yeah, there was a lot of support, but there was also a lot of, you know, not great vibes with some bands, you know, and like that seems to be pretty much dead. Like obviously you're going to have a couple, you know, little tussles or whatever, but like,
everyone will have their tit for tat. That's for sure. Of course,
yeah. But like there seems to be just such a wonderful community now, and especially in Ontario. Like I group Ontario all around because like there's some bands that just I'll see, you know, like I'm still dear friends with a band called Outshine based out of Bowmanville. And they're kind of on a bit of a hiatus at the moment, but like great band. And when I had Mike on, the vocalist Brandon, who is like one of the most talented musicians I know, he was like, dude, oh my God, like I love Mike's stuff so much. Like, oh, he was so excited. And I was like, it's just so refreshing to have that. And like, you know, like people like my boys in Judgment and Nothing Serious, like I've seen them supporting some of the bands we've talked about. And it's like, it's just so cool to see this scene that even if you won't know, like, it's like I mentioned someone like a band like Judgment, like they may not know like Mike and the guys from Jailbirds, but like they know who they are, and it's like, yo, like these guys slap. Like it's just there's this constant support. The constant support in the community
that I've seen over the last 3 years. It's amazing to just, you know, even with it was at the latest Jailbird show in Toronto, I got to see Mike from One in the Chamber. He came out, and it was so great to, you know, hang with him and their bass player Christian. And it's like, you know, everyone's supporting everyone, and, you know, watching them, you know, enjoy. They love the Jailbirds. You know, Mike speaks highly of Mike's guitar playing and singing. And it's like, it's so great to see everyone support with everyone. It's like friends supporting friends. And that's and that's at the end of the day, that's what it's all about now. And it really should be.
That's something that I've always been very passionate about with what I do. Like, you know, I've been in situations before where like, I knew there was maybe beef between someone, or like someone left a band, and it's like, I could have gone the route of being like, yo, let's talk smack about them. And it's like, no. I don't want to do that, man. Let's just keep it positive and let's support everybody. And like the positivity that I hear a lot off mic is more for me. That's like, because yeah, you can go on a podcast and be like, yes, I think that this band is great, and then go off air and be like, yo, like, let me tell you about those guys. It's like,
exactly, and and that's
it's so genuine.
Yeah. All the guys I've met, and all the guys in the 5 bands I've mentioned, and the other people I've met, I've met Dan Todd from Platinum Blonde, who's formerly in Platinum Blonde. I actually, funny enough, I met him at a Darby Mills Killer Dwarf show. He's going out to support the guys in Derby and those bands. It's like, I went up to Dan, and Dan immediately knew who I was even before I like totally mentioned my name. It's like, whoa, wait a second here.
It's like, you know who I am? What the hell? It's like, yeah, you're Cailin. Everyone knows you. Come on, we've already established this.
I got to talk with Dan and his lovely wife Natalie for a few minutes, and I've become friends with them over the last few years. It's like. And then the biggest person who I adore to pieces is Chris Sutherland. He's a former drummer for Kim Mitchell for the last probably, I think went into another band, I think in the late 90s. He was with them for like 15 years. He is the most down-to-earth, real person I've ever met. He is so nice and so kind. And he's been great to me, over the last couple of years. He does a lot of musicals, and like, as everyone's in other bands have said, Chris is like the professional. He does musicals.
Yeah, he's a real musician.
That's exactly what Todd Kearns has said. He's the real musician. Yeah. And he is so good at his craft, his technicality. It's like the one thing I took from a drum clinic I saw of him, you want to learn the parts of each song if you're covering someone else's song. You don't want to like put your own pizzazz to it,
of course,
but still keep it genuinely the same. Don't change it. Because, as the example, I think Brent Fitz said, I'm not going to go in and change Night Train from Guns N' Roses.
Who am I to
to go in and change that? He says, no, it's an iconic song. I'm playing it the way it's played. And, they're also genuine, these guys. It's like, I'm so grateful.
That's fantastic. Well, and one thing you've mentioned a couple times here that I did forget to mention at the top of the show, you're also a badass drummer too in your own right. Like, when did all that start for you? Like, getting into the drums and that?
I started playing at 16. I bought myself for my 16th birthday my own drum kit.
Nice.
My parents were like, if you want to play drums, that's your money you wasted. And you know what? To them, the best advice, because, I ended up getting my aunt bought me another kit like 3-4 years down the road. And, this year has definitely been a year I've stopped playing. I will admit I haven't played in probably about 6 months. You know what? Life gets in the way.
Yeah.
And, and I do miss it. I do miss playing. And everyone's like, when are you playing? Everyone's asking to jam with me now. And it's like, okay, I'm not to that point yet that I'm willing and, comfortable with jamming with other people. That, to me, I play just for the sake of, zoning out, de-stress myself and everything like that. But, one of these days, everyone's like, you got to get Cailin on stage. And it's like, the day you see me on stage will be the day, something major has happened, because I don't want to be on stage. But, if opportunities rise, you take them and you run with them. Of course, yeah. Of course I would. But no, I've been playing, I think, going on 5 years now. It'll be 5 years in January. And yeah, I've 95% of self-taught. I've done lessons over the course of like probably 2-3 years. I hate rudiments. I hate them. They're like my arch enemy. So like I play and I listen, I put it in my headphones and I just play, and I learn like that. And, and I'm not willing to go on stage anytime soon. So,
Well, at least you're learning the parts, right? That's
what I took from Chris Sutherland. You learn the parts, and that stuck with me since that day. And that hasn't changed. You learn the parts.
And you know what? One of my best friends, who's he's been playing drums like the majority of his life, and that's pretty much how he learned too. And one day it just clicked for him, where he was just kind of like, "Oh, okay." Like it's like anything, right? Once you put a certain amount of time in, you have to be good now. Like you have to be. When you woodshed on something for so long and you put in so many hours, it's like, I think the quote's like, I can't remember who said it, but it's like, you have to put 1,000 hours into something.
Absolutely.
Before you're good at it, or before you can be considered proficient at it.
Yeah, like I wouldn't right now. I wouldn't even like. I am so out of I'll probably jump back into it and start remembering everything. But I will be rusty, and I know I will be, and it will sound probably like garbage at some points. But just the practice, you just got to get back into the swing of things, and with kind of stuff winding down, I'll have a little more time to hop back on the kit for a half hour and dust it off.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you haven't been busy or anything, like
no, not at all.
Yeah, I know you.
Life has definitely got in the way of a lot of things.
Well, listen, as someone who, used to play music all the time and did it like, for a job basically, and then now it's just a bedroom player who does the same thing. I just play music to de-stress at this point and write to de-stress and stuff, and like I can totally relate to that. And I mean, as I've gotten older, it's like I just have to make the time now, at least once a week. I have to sit down and riff out for a minute or two. Like I need that time, You're absolutely right, and I do need that. There have been points in this year. It's been very stressful and very, very heavy and stuff like that. And I'll jump back on the kit, and it's like I'll go on for a half hour. As like 2 hours has gone by, it's like, this is what it's all about. You just find the music and you just keep playing it. I need to bang things with sticks. That's
if you can't, that's the only thing you can do. You can't hit people, so you hit your drums. And that's not going to hurt anything other than you bust your skins or break a cymbal. So
or break sticks or whatever. I guess
been there, done that numerous times.
Well, that was one thing I noticed with, I can remember seeing a couple of videos that you uploaded, like of you playing. And that was one thing I noticed, like, I don't know if it's because like I've always had such a fascination with drumming because like I can't even remotely do it. I've tried. I have such a fascination with people's techniques. And if there's one thing I always notice immediately is how hard people hit. And to me, the harder you hit, the more like you're into it. It's just like, you're beating the shit out of those skids. And that was something where I saw you and I was like, I wonder what kind of player she's going to be. Like, is she going to be like a lot of finesse? And you're just bang, bang. And I was like, that's rock and roll, man.
Yeah, no, I learn the parts, but I also have fun with it. And at the end of the day, you have to have fun with it. I'm not looking to be on stage. So it's like, if I mess up here, mess up there, it's like, nobody's going to know except me.
It's at the end of the day, everyone who plays music, at least I think so anyway, started playing music and formed bands or did covers on YouTube or whatever because it was fun.
Exactly.
And that's how it should be.
It is fun. And it's definitely, for me, I'm always self-conscious. And the one thing a lot of people don't know, I am left-handed.
Really? Okay.
I am left-handed. So when people see me play, they think my kit would be mirrored. The only left-handed drummer I know is Dan Todd. He mirrors his kit. My kit's not mirrored. So I can't, my brain, the way my brain works, I can play fills backwards. If anybody has done it, please message me because my drum teachers kind of were like, what are you doing? I get a lot of things backwards. So they will like mirror your kit. It might work, but I can't keep a beat with my other hand.
Really?
It has to be the way, the regular, right-handed.
Because the only
I can't flip it.
Mm-hmm. The only drummer I know that I can say that from a kit I saw that was left-handed, and it tripped me out the first time I saw it because I didn't know what was going on. And my buddy was like, he's left-handed, and I'm like, is that a thing? And he says, yeah. Like it just blew my mind. And he played on Jerry Kent. His name is Mike Borden.
The name sounds familiar.
He was best known for being in Faith No More. Actually, I didn't even know that. I should have known that. Mike Borden's his name. He played on Jerry Cantrell's Degradation Trip 1 and 2. There's a video for one of Jerry Cantrell's songs, Anger Rising. And in the video, he has a left-handed kit. And like, first time I saw it, I was like, what is he doing?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought too. Yeah. When I first saw it, Dan's kind of like, why is his hi-hat on the opposite side? And it's like, oh, he's left-handed. Interesting. Well, I'm left-handed, but my kit's not mirrored. And a lot of people actually don't know that I am left-handed.
That's great. Yeah, I wouldn't have. That, yeah, it's little things like that, right? That stuff just fascinates me. The fact that you're basically playing everything backwards. It's like left-handed people who play guitar right-handed. That trips me out.
And you know what? I picked up a guitar briefly in 2016, and it was left-handed. I couldn't do it, but I didn't put enough time into it. Stuff happened within the family that I had to, kind of stop. And but I wanted to play drums. I wanted drums, but I wanted to try out guitar. And, and another thing, my hands are so small. Trying to get my hands around the neck is like kind of like next to impossible. Like Todd's bass guitar, like, I'll sit in my room and kind of like strum on it and fool around with it. It's it's like my hands I can barely get my hands up to the last, like the top fret. It's like, no, it's
not going to happen, man.
It needs to be thin. And And that's another reason why it was because my hands are so small and, trying to, move your fingers. It's like the guitars just blow my mind. It's like, I would love to play, but, I'll stick with the drums.
Drums are more fun. Come on. I always say
you get to hit things. So what the hell?
Guitar's cool, but can they go dunk, gunk, gunk, gunk? Like, come on.
Oh yeah, the fills, the beats you can come up with, it's like that's more fun.
Oh, absolutely. Well, one thing that we haven't really talked a lot about yet, but kind of as we get ready to slowly wrap it up here, on top of the fact that you've put together this awesome concert, you're like the biggest music fan in all of Ontario, and you're a badass drummer, you also are an extremely talented photographer. How did that all start? Like, is obviously, if anyone wants to go check out your work, I'll have a link down below to your social media and that there. But you're a very talented photographer. Where did that come from? Where did that start?
I've had a camera in my hand probably since the age of 7. I got one of those kid cameras for Christmas from my grandparents. I took pictures of everything and anything. I look back on some of the pictures like, what was I like? It was awful. I'm like, oh, all right.
I took a picture of this chair. What was going on?
Exactly. It's like, don't ask me why I took a picture of this couch or chair. But, as probably at the age of, I want to say 10, my mom and dad bought me one of the small Kodak cameras. I had that for years. I took pictures, everything, my dog, family, anything I could get, that was there to take pictures of. That, and then it stemmed, once I got my cell phone, I started, going to shows, I was taking pictures and I was looking at my work, and some of the pictures I took, it's like, with a cell phone, that's pretty decent. I wonder if I could, move forward and shoot with a camera. I wonder if that could be, if I could get good at it. So, pre-pandemic, so it was March of 2020, right before the pandemic hit, Andy actually had a show with Drop Top Alibi and the Jailbirds. That show did not happen. Sadly, I was so excited to see Drop Top Alibi in March, and I had to wait a whole other year until I could see them. But so my mom found this camera on Boxing Day. It was a Boxing Day special at Best Buy. And my mom's like, it comes with another lens, and, it was a great price for, 2 lenses, a camera, and a case. Great. My mom's like, do you want it? I said, yeah. I was, after that I started working. So that was like the first big purchase I purchased from working. And, then COVID hit. And it's like, wow, what am I doing with this camera if I can't do concerts? And I'm like, well, we had amazing sunsets where I live, shooting right down the middle of the road. The pictures, people like, how did you take them? It's like, I don't know. I just point and shoot, And then I was taking pictures of the moon, my dog, nature, basically. And then once, shows started slowly coming back in the summer, I went out, had no problem getting into the venues. I started shooting. It's like, these pictures are turning out really well. And, Mike from the Jailbirds, he's been so great with me, letting me come in, shoot their set. And it's like, Mike's like, you become a pro pretty quickly. That has to be the best compliment I've ever had. And, and so after that, it's like, shows just started coming. I'm like, I'm getting slammed. It's like, this is great. And the pictures are coming out phenomenal. And, here I am, like almost a year later, Revive, I think I've shot 3 times. The Jailbirds, 10, phone, camera, all together. One in the chamber 3 times, drop top once, well, twice if you want to count the studio, but the pictures I'm very proud of. And then I'm starting in with the editing on stuff now. It's like, this is interesting. I like the way, black and whites have kind of become my favorite. And then, taking it black and white and splashing it with some color. And everyone's liking them, I'm finding, when I post them on social media. It's like, okay, I'll keep doing that if that's what people like.
Yeah, and like with photography too, like it's kind of like the old joke, right? Like, oh, everyone who has a camera thinks they're a photographer, but there's something to be said for someone who has an eye for it. You either have it or you don't. You either have it or you don't, in my opinion. And the second I saw some of your stuff, I'm like, you just have it. Like,
I appreciate
you can't
that.
teach that. Yeah, and you really can't. Like, it's like you said, like, oh, why'd you take that picture? I don't know. I just took it. Like, it's such and there's such an art form to it, and
it really
is. Editing, and and that's cool that you're getting into that side of it too, because like there's so much cool stuff. And I wasn't sure if you were doing edits on your phone or what you were doing. Like, are you doing all that in Photoshop or? No,
all the edits as of right now of all the bands are just strictly done on auto. On auto.
Okay.
I've done another interview. It was actually, again, thanks to Brandon, through Drop Top Entertainment. Jesse Reed, I think's his name. He's a great guy from Toronto. And he's like, so your photos are really raw. And I said, absolutely. That's what I don't want it. I don't like seeing photos that look fake.
Yes. Like, super clean and like, what am I looking at here?
It's like, no, I don't like some pictures look great. Like, if that's how they want to, shoot, that's their prerogative. But I like keeping mine raw. I will do as minimal editing as possible, so you can capture that feel. Mm-hmm. And a lot of I've said this in one post, and I think it was with Mike from One in the Chamber. His emotion while singing is something I've never seen in any singer. And some of the photos I've captured, you can just read the emotion. You feel it. And it's like, that's why I do what I do, is to capture those moments they can look back on and go, I remember, what was going through my mind singing that song, what song. They know the moment. And it's so great to see. And, I'm so grateful for the guys, they repost my pictures. It's like, I just do it because I love it, and I'm grateful for them to, give me the opportunity, to go out and, have fun, enjoy music, and do what we all love. That's what it's all about.
That's it. I mean, that's a beautiful statement just to kind of end off with here, because it's such it's so important to just do what you love, and you're living proof of someone who's just all the stuff you're doing. Like, you can tell how passionate you are about it, and it's contagious. It really is.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. That's what I'm here. If I can make someone smile, that just makes my day. At the end of the day, like in just life in general, it's the little things that matter in life. Mm-hmm. And if you can do a good deed for someone and just something small, it makes it go. It goes a long way, and they will remember that. And I'm grateful for all these guys. As I've said this throughout the whole entire show, I am so grateful for their friendships. It's unbelievable. I'm looking forward to seeing where they all go in the next year. They got a Jailbird show in January. We'll pipe that one. Horseshoe Tavern with Drop Top Alibi, West Coast Fantasy, which is their live debut, which will be interesting to see. And there's another band on the bill, and I cannot think of their name, unfortunately.
Shouts to them. We don't mean to leave you out.
But
definitely, yeah, big shout outs to that. And I mean, keep an eye. I'll have the links down below, guys, to check out Cailin's stuff, because I'm sure there's going to be lots of, especially once we get into like 2022 is going to be a heavy year for music, because all 100%. These bands have been waiting, and it's like, let's go, let's do it. So
they're ready to roll, and I'm so excited. New music from a lot of the guys, and support everyone. Go buy the music, buy the merch. Share a post, like it, comment, it goes a long way for them. And, and they do appreciate it. And they're also active on the social media as well. So, go say hi, tell them you like their music, again, little things like that will make their day.
And tell them you know Cailin, and then they'll be like, of course you do.
Yeah, there we go. Everyone knows who Cailin is, apparently. But I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for everyone's support on everything that I've been doing. It's kind of just the beginning. This is just getting started.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, I'm sure we're going to have a conversation again, because this has been a lot of fun. And
absolutely. I'm always down for talking music, talking, anything in general. I'm an open book.
For sure. And one last thing before we go here, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh, no.
What would you say is, you can give me one of the two or both, depending on what you want to do here. What would you say is the favorite concert that you've seen? Oh. And what is the favorite concert that you've shot at?
Oh, I'm going to feel so bad for leaving some of these guys out. Oh, my God. Oh,
or give me a couple that were memorable, if you can do that.
Oh,
putting on the spot here.
Probably my favorite show that I've shot was. Okay, I'm gonna give you two, because I can't leave. Okay. For heaven forbid, I can't leave the Jailbirds out of this, because I love those guys dearly. Like, I feel bad. Like, I've shot for all these guys, and it's like my favorite show. Two favorite shows was one in the Chamber and Drop Top Alibi at Cherry Cola's in the beginning of November, and shooting the Jailbirds at Bar Down Beer Fest.
I mean, yeah, that's
the stage, the lighting, it was just perfect. Like, that was the whole night of shooting. The whole sets for each band was the best, and getting to be able to stand in behind everyone, and standing on stage. Okay. Standing on stage and behind the drummer of, I believe it was Revive the Rose, Matt. He's a phenomenal drummer, and he's just amazing. Just feeling the energy and watching the crowd facing out into the crowd. That was one of the best moments I've ever had at a show. Was feeling the drums, because as being a drummer, that feeling, and looking out into the crowd and seeing everyone's smiling face. That was the be all end all for me. And my favorite show that I've been to, I'm gonna say probably was, this is so hard. I've seen so many. I'm gonna say the Trues at Ancaster Fairgrounds.
Nice. Okay. There's no wrong answers, right?
It's so hard, because I'm friends with a lot of these guys. I don't need them to come back. Why you didn't say me? I love all you guys. All you guys.
They know.
But no, the True Show, that was such a great show as well. And Revive did open for them as well.
So there you go. I mean, close enough.
There we go.
Awesome. Well, Cailin, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a joy getting to talk to you.
TJ, for having me. It's been a blast. Thanks for all the support too. I do appreciate it.
Of course. And same to you as well. I know how much you support me, and, sharing my stuff and commenting and liking. I very much appreciate it. So thank you so much.
Anytime. Friends support friends. That's what we're here to do.
Hell yeah. All right, guys, there you have it. My chat with Cailin Provo of Cailin Provo Photography, and also probably the biggest music fan in the world. Let's be serious. Cailin, it was great getting to chat with you. So thank you so very much again for coming on. You know how much fun I had shooting the breeze with you. It's always fun to meet someone who is as passionate about something as you are. And she definitely, like I said, near the end there especially, you can feel her passion for music. It just comes through the screen or comes through your headphones. And, she definitely is. There's not a lot of music fans out there like her that take it to that next level. Like I think she said a couple of times, it's like an obsession. So big shouts to Cailin. Thank you very much. Be sure to follow her on her socials. I'll have some links down below in the description of this podcast. And thank you so very much for listening. It means the world to me. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave a like, leave a subscribe. If you can, leave a comment. And also, if you can, leave a rating, because ratings really help this show grow. And if you leave a 5-star rating, especially, it really, really helps this show climb the charts. And as much as, yes, I do this for fun, and it's that's the main reason that I do this, is to have fun conversations like I did with Cailin here today. Obviously, bigger the show gets, the more fun we all can really have. And I hope you have had fun here today. Thank you so very much again for tuning in. Give you the old patented audio fist pump. I say patented because who else would punch their microphone at the end of an episode? This guy right here. With that, I'm going to sign off here today. Thank you guys so very much again, and I'll catch you next time on The Harder Show. Take it easy, guys.